Now, when you're dealing with Breatharian sex talk on the spiritual path, like we've been stating, the sexual energy is the most powerful energy on the spiritual / Breatharian path. Because sex in the esoteric circles, S-E-X, when you look up sex in the dictionary, it just deals with gender. You're either male or female. What sex is the baby? Male or female. But in the esoteric circles, that is a synonym, meaning spinal for S. E equals energy, because we have electricity going up our spine, and X stands for excretion or exchange, because we're dealing with the sexual fluids exchange when you're dealing with people coming together. And that's what we're dealing with. So in the spiritual circles, you can actually use this thing called celibacy or your spinal energy exchange to heighten the energy within your body, to strengthen your electromagnetic field, and that's the whole catalyst of not giving up the energy exchange, but use it for your spinal cord within your body to make you into a stronger energetic being. And we're talking about what? Many benefits that you won't even imagine. It is the highest level, hands down, when you're dealing with celibacy. Now, let's define celibacy. See, when you go in Sanskrit, they got a word called brahmacharya. You understand? But before we get to that word, let's deal with what we're talking about in the West so we can be clear, because we're using this word celibacy and so many people got so many definitions for it. Now, celibacy is the state of being abstinent from marriage or a sexual relationship. Let's make it plain. So that means a person that's unmarried could say, hey, I'm celibate because I'm not married and you're not planning on getting married. It's like you're not planning on getting married. But then we got this person that says, I do not engage in sexual relationships. Now, let's be clear what this means. Going back to spinal energy exchange, that means that there's you do not exchange in penetration. Let's grow up now. We ain't talking about hugging. We're not talking about kissing. You understand? Because people kiss out of love all the time and hug all the time. All this other stuff. And then we got that thing called tantra. We're going to talk about that. Penetration is where it boils down to. When there's a rape case or anything else, what they need to know, was there any penetration that took place? That's when it gets serious. It goes to another level. There's DNA exchanged, all this other stuff exchanged, fluids going inside of one another, all this other stuff, and it's a whole nother ballgame. Now, celibacy and abstinence, those words are used interchangeably. Okay? And abstinence is refraining from sex. You're refraining from it. And I just did a retreat not too long ago in Los Angeles where I taught celibacy mostly every day. And some woman was asking me questions about Tantra, and I got to the point in my life I said, do not play with fire. Right. Now, whether and Tantra does not mean, even though we use a Tantra sex, Tantra just means a technique, you understand, or a way of doing things. It does not really regard the sex. But there is a thing dealing with Tantra where you still will exchange fluids to a degree, but you would try to hold more your orgasm, because now you're using your orgasm. This is the big ball of spirituality for your spiritual growth. We might as well be clear with it. For your energy exchange and all of this stuff. Now, celibacy is used for somebody living a single life or is unmarried, and celibacy and abstinence, that word is used interchangeably, but it's also used more in the religious circles. We know this. And it's at the highest degrees it began, because sex, S-E-X, is dealing with the spinal energy exchange. Back in that book, Something of a Yogi by Paranaba, the autobiography of a yogi. Back over 100 years ago, he said that electricity goes up and down your spinal cord, and today, even science is backing it up. We got an electromagnetic field. We got electricity going through us. And this sexual energy that we make within our bodies, this fluid, goes up and down the spinal cord again, so we're using it. So this is why you're in the celibacy circles. Now, let's get clear with it. We're going to talk real. Dealing in this society, sex sells. That's why this is the hardest journey, and this journey even goes beyond. It's harder than not eating food. Now, dealing with us being animals in the animal kingdom, let's be real with it. Men usually think about sex first, food second. Why do I boldly say that? I had a friend one time, a male who was overweight. He wouldn't miss his meal. But one day he missed his meal. You ain't eating today? No, because he had to see a woman. He was willing on sacrificing his meal to go see that woman. Now he took some food with him, but he still made that exchange. And a woman usually thinks about shelter in a house before sex. But they still make the trade-off in this society. Women usually use the men's energies and his powers through her sexual devices, and men usually use what? Materialism and different things to get, such as food, for sexual exchanges. If we act like that don't exist, we are fully misinterpreting ourselves. All right. So on the Breatharian path and on your spiritual path, celibacy will be your savior. Not only you'll be able to save your fluids and all these other spiritual powers that come with it, it also keeps you out of a lot of trouble to degrees. Because most people are in playing the sexual game subconsciously, even if they don't realize it. I run into this all the time in my journeys. All the time. Now, some woman asked me, now we're going to go there because I'm not offended at all. She said, now let's get into our physical bodies. The Breatharian journey is a health journey, right? We're getting our health together. And when a person goes to the gym and they start working out, what do? They're looking in the mirror. You're looking how your body is because you want to have a nice looking body. And a nice looking body does what? Attracts the opposite sex. See, the first phase of seduction is what we see. Hands down. When a man looks good, all women will look, or even men will look and say, he looks good. His body looks good. He probably got some good clothes on. That's what we see. And when a woman looks good, she looks good. Whether she has a quality, whether if it's in her breasts, whether if it's in her figure. If she looks good, and it catches your eye. This is just human nature. We're in the physical realm. Let's don't act like we're robots. You see it. But this is the first phase of seduction, is what we see. So, that's step number one. So as you're on your journey, it ain't like you're going to pluck out your eyes, okay? You're going to see people you're attracted to. And even if you're in a loving relationship and met somebody you really love, that does not mean that you do not see nobody else. So that's why it takes commitment to be in these relationships to make them work, if y'all making that type of pact with one another to stay with each other. Now, there was this couple that was married over 50 years, and I like the pact that they made. They made a good pact, and they teach a lot of people how to stay married that long. Good couple. But they said, you're going to see others that you're attracted to, but just don't sleep with them. That's what they said. And their marriage lasts, they love each other, but to see who they see it. Now, that don't mean they playing around and stuff like that. You got to be committed when you're working on those type of relationships. But just because, like, when you go on a celibacy journey, now you got to be committed to yourself to stay abstinent from those sexual relationships. Because as soon as you get to, now the real part is when you start trading off those fluids. Now, some woman just asked me, now here she go. And I run into this all the time. Because people are using their skills. I don't care how you look at it. I run into a lot being on my journeys, whether if they male or females, I run into these people playing this sexual game. So here I am coming on my journeys, and there's times I run into this woman who has a lot of power. Now, why does she have a power? She'll, see, when you deal with the animal kingdom and animals that we are, when you look at the lion kingdom, the apes and stuff like that, the female will stay in the pride all of her life. All of her life, she will stay in the pack because that's her protection. Males usually have the power to break outside of the pack. That's why you get that thing called a lone wolf. That's usually a male. It's not a female. They can break off from the pack. So same with humans. Females usually stay in society all of their life. And all females mostly, I'm not judging, they usually stay connected to some type of male in their life, even if they abstain from sex. You understand? Because they need the male strength to either change the light bulb, help move the table and stuff. Men usually have the ability to break all the way off because they got the strength to take care of themselves. I'm just talking real. So you'll run into these females on these journeys. They'll probably have a house. They'll probably have money. You understand? But they still have these males around. You understand? That they can ask for help and stuff like this on many different levels and degrees. Some are more cleaned up than others. But some women use their sexual devices to keep the men sort of like in zombie mode. So when I'm coming along on my travels, this is why celibacy helped me. For number one, they probably look at me as a competition. Here it comes. So these wars start. And I got to kind of, settle it down. Because this male's looking, he really like her. That's why he's helping her. She's bragging about me, and here it comes. But celibacy helps you because pretty soon some males got the memo and say, that man's celibate. And we might as well be real with it. When the two people have that sexual energy exchange, people around can feel it because we're animals. You start giving off their vibration because you just change fluids. You can kind of tell when somebody had sex. They used to say in the church at times, you'll see two people hanging together, and you can kind of tell when they actually had sex because they're, usually the female, her body start changing. They do, it start changing in certain places. But they touching one another. We might as well be real with it. And like we said, emotions get all in the way and all this other stuff. But celibacy helps a spiritual person because even when you run into these different locations, as long as you don't have that energy exchange, it keeps you out of a lot of mess. Because I run into a lot of mess all the time. Now, so one woman asked me, now listen at this. We might as well be real with it. We like showing off our bodies again, whether if you male or female. So some of you who follow me, I'll be working out sometime and I, show off my muscles and stuff. And there's places I go, every time you got a nice body, but women do the same thing. When you look in the mirror, you see your cleavage, you see this. There's nothing wrong with that. You want to look attractive. You want to look beautiful. And there is a thing called, remember we said physical looks is the first phase of seduction. So now you got some women who really play it to a hilt. I was just in one place where this woman, she was walking around with the cleavage showing, and she know what she got. And she got the men like zombies all around. But just because I didn't give her the attention that she felt I should have gave her, it started a disruption. Here we go now, because she's used to getting attention. So now there's some males who's getting mad at me because she got the hit out on me. But no matter if she had the hit out on me or not, guess what? I didn't have sex with her. So by me not having sex with her, pretty soon it quailed. And she at least had to give me some credit to say, okay, you are the master. Right, because we didn't take it there. So celibacy saves you as being a spiritual person. Now, of course, in my past, there's a lot of he said, she said, Ellie Tom did this, he tried. But guess what? At the end of the day, was there any exchanges, energy exchanges? Absolutely not. I still got my seed, they got theirs, so we could go about our business. You can say what you want to say. And for us to act like the other party's just as innocent, I get touched all the time, blah, 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 blah. But one woman said to me, Well, Ellie Tom, like she thought she was trying to offend me, but we need to talk about this. She said, well, why do you touch women's tits? Okay, here we go. Now, the one woman I told you, she knew she had the cleavage showing and had the men following her. Now, this happens a lot. This is what she got working for her. So I ran into this one place where this woman's all over me, hugging me. I'm trapped all between. I only weigh 120 pounds, so I'm trapped between her breasts. She's hugging me, all right? So I got to fight my way out of it. Now listen at this. So we're in a society where, okay, in the past, we got to talk about this. Women did go through a lot on the abuses of men, but now we're in another society. We have upgraded a little bit, okay? We did. However, there is women taking advantage of that now. And some are honest, but some are using it wrong. That's why we got groups now called MGTOW. Any of y'all ever heard that? MGTOW, men going their own way. They're talking about how women are taking advantage of this situation, advantage of this society, and advantage of their sexism, and really putting men in the boat where they're paying a bad price for it, destroying their lives and everything else, and that is taking place. Because for the most part, I was in a situation, and I'm going to tell it right now, where this woman's all over me, throwing her breast all on me, and here I am fighting for all I had, all right? And as soon as we do hug, and I just happen to get him out of my way or hug him or whatever, he groped me, he, and then I'm throwing all over the carpet like I'm this bad dude. Okay. And everybody's acting innocent, and I'm just a little, but at the same time now, we might as well go ahead and say it. Because we're going to be nice. But anyway, this happens all the time. But no matter what he said, she said, that's okay. At the end of the day, there was no energy exchange. See, we got to keep in mind what sex is and what it's not. So even now, I'm at the level now, since I'm getting deeper and more famous in my game and I got to protect myself, we might as well be real with it. I'm going to start doing this. There ain't going to be no more hugging. So everybody can be clear now. And you want to be at the level too when you get higher in your energy, in your spiritual walk. In order to protect yourself, stop being in the same quarters with the opposite sex, same sex. Be with other people. The old folks used to say that. They used to say, if y'all young people gonna go out to date, go to date with somebody else and don't go by yourself. So we gotta actually resurrect those old ideas again in order to protect ourselves, because now we live in a society with this social media. We could throw people across the carpet, and usually the woman's word will get off a lot more than the dudes. And yes, dudes do give off, how should I say, dudes do give off, 1,000 or more sperm a day, and we're designed to, chase women in a way. That's how we procreate. And women is, again, got these sexual energies happening. So we don't want to take advantage of them. Again, we all got to protect ourselves so we can grow. This is not pointing fingers at all. And women got their things going on too. Now look at this. Now, since we got brahmachari out here, there's a lot of women that's going celibate now. And when she start growing her magnetism, you remember I said she gives off her pheromones? Now I'm learning this because I got a lot of women friends. So check this out now. Her magnetism start growing, so therefore her electricity start growing. So a lot of men out of nowhere start coming to her like never before. So she's under this pressure, and she's trying to learn how to handle it. And see, and now since we got the upgrade on technology, we got a thing called the friend zone. This is the first time in history where a woman could use a cell phone or any type of computer and actually have men in a friend zone. There was a time that didn't happen in society dealing with her parents and her grandparents. When they got with a man, they had to stick with him, and that was it. This and that. Now she can have like all these male friends and have them like in a friend zone. And a lot of men got to learn how to use that now, because a lot of men will say, well, I'm not going to spend money with you if I can't get with you. So a lot of women don't want to go celibate because she might not get taken out for a date no more and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Oh, this is deep now. We need to talk about these things. And that's the fear. Or she might don't want to cover up her cleavage because that's what got her dates before. See, we still got a thing called ladies' night. They don't got men's night. They got ladies' night. Ladies' night mean if you let the women in free, the business know they're going to make money, because if the women is there, the men is coming to spend the business. So if it's like that with a business in this culture, it's like that with everything else. So we might as well go there. This is out here. So now when you're dealing with the celibacy journeys, and I'm saying you get to the level where you got to stop playing with fire. I had to learn myself. That's why I got to teach this now to people, what I go through. You understand? And of course, we might as well go ahead and say it. I'm becoming more and more famous on what I'm teaching, what I'm doing. I'm going around the world. So I'm also attracting women to me and men with other agendas, and they got nothing to do with spirituality. It's about where the next money is at and this and that. And they try to entice you with this, entice you with that. And you got to be clear. So I even had to come against millionaires saying, well, hey, well, I could put your name on this book. But I don't need you to give me no book. I already got my books. You know, I don't need you for that. I don't need you to feed me. I ain't got no house or no car. So you get to stand up for yourself when you're on a breatharian celibacy path. And then women, you can look at them and they'll get mad because they used to men really being with them because they look beautiful and stuff. And you're looking at them saying it ain't that type of party. There's nothing you can give me. I'm not looking to make children, get a house, get a car. And when they find out that that agenda is gone, it brings another energy up. So celibacy does protect you on the higher spiritual levels when you're on this path. You just have to be clear and stick to your guns, and you learn as you grow. So even for myself, I'm learning now. I'm going to the phase like the Chinese do. It ain't going to be no more hugging no more. It's just like this now. Let's just call it a day so we can be clear. I kind of feel bad now that the accusations that did come to me, I didn't even have no sex. That shows that what's wrong with me? Am I ugly? We might as well go ahead and say it, but things ain't go people's way. That's all it is. So we need to grow up now. But anyway, when you're dealing with this journey of celibacy, it builds a whole lot of power. It builds self-esteem. Why does it build self-esteem? Because for number one, you don't need to get compliments off of other people no more. You're comfortable with yourself. You're comfortable with your own energy. You're comfortable with your own being. It also brings mental powers up. Your speed and your focus is on key because you're not trying to spend your energy no more trying to please this person or make sure this person is all right. I'm traveling with my one buddy right now. He's a male, and it's great how we're getting along. I said, see, we got a relationship going. Does that mean we got to touch and kiss each other? Absolutely not. We're traveling. We're having a good time. We've seen the rainbows. We've seen the sunset. It's crystal clear. I'm not trying to please him. He's not trying to please me, and we're having a great time. You understand? And it's cool when you can meet women like that, too, that's on that type of level. And women go through the same thing because there's some women who think like that. You understand? But this male is constantly trying to get in their pants. It ain't all about that. So I got some really good friendships out there with those women who do got that in mind. They help me and I help them, and we got a good relationship going on. But when you got one party who got that other thought in their mind, it will soon get exposed, and we ain't got to worry about it no more. Because like I said, some of the women that I was with in my past who tried to say whatever, okay, we ain't got to worry about it no more. We would never be together again. They just lost a good friend, and maybe I lost one too. We had some good memories. It's all good. But we're just growing up and going about our ways now. So we all can learn from this. You understand? That's all we're doing. Everybody got to learn and grow. And then this keeps you from what? Diseases. Yes, sexual transmitted diseases still take place. So you're out of that arena now. I just see some dude who caught some disease, and he's what? Older than me. And I'm like, you still catching diseases in an age where there's all this condoms out there and all of this? You at least could have got that. And then I remember this one older woman said about these young women getting pregnant and stuff. She said if we would have had all these contraceptives when I was coming up, we would have been taking them like candy at least. Making all these babies and that, because it's hard to try to raise a baby in this society by yourself. It does not happen. You already done made bad choices. You understand? We got to go there. There's a lot of people, that's why my next thing, we're going to go into the levels of brahmacharyas for everybody so you can stop making bad choices. Once you make those bad choices, bringing children into this world without a great foundation to bring that up in, not only it hurt your life, it also put the child in a bad position. And there's no such thing as a single parent playing both male and female. They're going to raise a good, functional family. You understand? So this puts you back on track to think about how you're going to spend your sexual energy. This goes for everybody out the door. See, just like myself. If I wanted to be in a relationship and get married, I'm crystal clear on what to look for, what to do, because I got educated now. You understand? What to expect, what to bring forth. We got to go there now. This is for everybody. And then this keeps you, like we said, not only for diseases, from unwanted pregnancies and all this other stuff. Because it dumbs down your life, because it takes a lot to what? All a baby has is wants. You could be doing other things with your life, but you got to do this, sacrifice this, sacrifice that. You understand? So that's why on the Breatharian journey, I tell people, okay, you already got that family created. You ain't got to worry about food freedom right away. Take care of your family. Do the best you can. You understand? And when the kids get older, then you can launch off to that other level of, food freedom. Eat with your family right now. Just make sure it's healthy. But when my son got a certain age, that gave me a chance to scoot over and go into another level. And then when you deal with celibacy and stuff, you understand you could go to another level, because no matter what relationship you in, the woman could look fine. So now, we're going to talk real now. There's a saying that says, no matter how good a woman look, if a man keep fishing at the same hole, he going to get tired of the same hole. You understand? So sex is not nothing to brag about. And a woman could brag about a man's sexually all she wants. Y'all sitting there doing it over and over again. The physical is going to wear itself out soon. So you're going to have to build a relationship mentally eventually. You know what I'm saying? Get that together to build that relationship mentally, and then y'all can start helping each other spiritually. So as you're in your families and stuff on the Breatharian celibacy path, you understand, don't act like you got to jump right away, because I remember a group of women called me one time. They all want to go celibate on the Breatharian path, and all of them is married. And I asked them the question, well, what do your spouse think about that? Well, they said, well, you just have to get over it. Okay, y'all about to set yourself up for a divorce. That's why y'all got married for. See, it's not fair for the other party either. You understand? So we got to start thinking again where you're at this time, and where to place these sexual energies of celibacy. You understand? You'll get stronger as you go on the path. Because even on myself, I'm on the abstinence levels now, but now I'm learning the levels. I got to protect myself now. Look, I'm getting more and more famous. People think I got money. People think this. They got all these things. So we're going to do this now. Go places, make sure other people around. This is where we at. Because the message is too important to be playing around. You understand? So again, I hope you got a lot out of this. And this gets a whole lot of energy. Our next videos, as we keep going, we're actually going to do the meditations where we start running the sexual energy. So stay into the series. This is new. We're going to deal with how this fluid goes into your blood. And that's where we get the word Christ from, the chrism. And we're going to get deeper scientifically with it. All this good stuff, both for males and females. Because even females, when she have an orgasm, she gives up a lot of protein, a lot of vitamin C, and that fructose again, which is a sugar. See, that's why we got that Red Bull drink. They actually do put bull sperm in there, because sperm has a whole lot of protein and all this other stuff in it. And not only the sperm, the woman's fluids, and when it goes back up the spine, you understand it's coming up more powerful than when it went down. And it's actually nourishing the brain. And then it's going into the vagus nerve, going back into the organs. We're going to get into all of this. So I hope you got a lot out of this. And I'm not picking sides, picking against male against females. But it is different on how our bodies is when we deal with sex. For females, you do got a man going inside of you. You know, if you're having sex with a male. And his DNA and everything will go into the blood-brain barrier. Your brain will change your energy, all this stuff. So when you start sleeping with more than one male over the years and all this other stuff, you got all of these different energies coming off of you. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Now, can you resolve that? Yes, you can. We're going to get into that too. Because medically, they got paperwork coming off of it now. Some say it's stuck with you for the rest of your life. In the esoteric circles, they say it lasts up to 7 years. And it does last some years, but there's a cycle you can get yourself into where you start purging yourself from those other energies as you're cleaning up your energy field. Man, this is good. It is good that we talk about this again so we can clean ourselves up. So again, we're going to keep lifting the ship up. I hope you got a lot out of this. Keep your questions below. And go back to that woman question. Ellie Tom, why did you touch women's tits? All right. Again. There's people out there with some fantastic bodies. I got a fantastic body. And again, we're going to do this now. If it offends anybody, no, you're not purposely going out touching people's tits. Okay, we're not doing that. However, we just have to be clear. You understand that people know what they got and all this other stuff. And just be careful how you even put yourself up on other people. We got to be clear on that. And again, if you can't handle touching, just do this again. That's how I'm going to the mode on that, okay? So this saves everybody a lot of headache, a lot of pain. But the main thing, there's no energy exchange. Once you go to those levels, that's a whole nother level. That's why, now listen at this. That's why there's a word called sexual intercourse. See, sex is one thing. It means male or female. But intercourse, listen at that word. That's 2 words. You're entering a course, like an obstacle course. Because not only you got reflexology points in your eyes, your ears, your intestines, your hands, your feet. You also got them on your sexual organs. On a man's penis, he got the all of his organs on there, the liver, the heart, at different places. And a woman's vagina inside, she got the reflexology points, the liver, the heart. So when they go into each other, they're actually massaging each other. That's why y'all massaging each other's organs when you actually enter in the course. So it's very serious on the energy exchange that's taking place. Oh, man. This is awesome, ain't it? So this is all what it's about again, as we grow higher and higher and stay on the path. But this is Breatharian sex talk because this goes hand in hand with the Breatharian journey. Because just like I was saying, all that energy, you're massaging each other's organs and all of this stuff. And when you get to spinning it through the south gate, this is what this is called. I'm going to show you where that's at in the scriptures. The king of the south and the king of the north. When you keep being spent at the south gate, the king of the north ain't got what he needs. You understand? But when the south gate is closed and the energy rises up like Moses rose up the serpent in the wilderness could come up to the north and feed and nourishes the north. And that's what we're going to. But the title for this one today would be The Burning Ring of Fire. That was a famous song by Johnny Cash dealing with a love affair and how you do get burnt as you go around this swirling, burning ring of fire and blah, blah, blah. Great song, though. And it isn't talking about the negativity about relationships at all. Relationships are beautiful because life is all about relationships. And when you deal with the Breatharian journey or the celibate journey, the brahmachari journey, you're going to find out that this is going to make relationships more fruitful. You're not running from relationships. You're learning how to be a being now that really knows how to bring relationships more into a higher energetic vibration instead of just catering to the physical needs of the survival level. Because when you do that, that's when we can boldly say all relationships are selfish. They're selfish because there's some type of need that need to be administered to help the lust inside of a person. We'll use that word lust. We're just not talking about the physical sex either. It could be the different addictions or the things you need to do to survive instead of using your true spiritual abilities to magnify stuff to you. That's why celibacy is at one out of the highest levels on when you come into your God form. But besides all of that, the mistake that people make a lot, this is what I found on my journey, and I think I told you a situation where I met this woman, and it was one of those, friends with benefits. And you didn't mean for it to end the way you did, even though you made this agreement. But that one turned out terrible because emotions got involved. But there's another one I want to talk about today. And that's when, because today we live in a society where the divorce rate is very, very high. And there's some people that say if the divorce rate is like 70% or more, or it's over 50%, let's put it like that. It's over 50%. They say, why get married today? Because that's like you jumping out of a plane with a parachute on. It has a 50-50 chance to open or not. So you might not be successful in your marriage. However, the celibacy path or the brahmachari path, if we used to use that, come in 4 different levels where your marriage could be a lot more solid when you learn the principles of sexual cultivation, when both parties understand. We got to tie this up now so it can make sense. So another thing people make a mistake at is this thing called a soulmate, this partner that you dream of where y'all really get along, and sometimes it starts out like that. So if it starts out like that, and some people, when they get into these relationships, they are so guaranteed that this is the person. Why is the breakup rate so high? And I think it's because, this is just coming from me and my observation and also my own personal life. When people do get together, you meet because of like frequencies or like vibrations. Like attract like. There ain't no opposites attract. No. Like attracts like. The opposite attract, that's another type of vibration we're talking about, or, a lesson. We got to break that down. The person you met, y'all met because y'all had the same frequency. Sometimes we'll look at a person and say, well, that person is like fast sexually, and this person is slow sexually. You understand? And they're meeting up together. But actually, both of them are fast sexually. It's just the outside persona. They're meeting on the same frequency. Believe that. Now let's tie this in. The mistake people make is, well, first of all, let's look at the good part. One time I met this woman, and I was celibate at the time. And, but we had everything in tune. I was a go-getter. She was a go-getter. She had her own. I had my own. Really didn't have that. Everything was perfect. We got along good on our quest for knowledge, quest for spiritual growth. And people who saw us together said, I could see y'all together. Y'all make a good team. That happened so much. But luckily, one thing I noticed was, and she even had to notice the same thing, even though we got along and we was this good dynamic team that was joining together, we had different futures on what we were seeking. And that's what the people don't see, because it's hard to see your future, or you do see it. But sometimes, how do you tie this other person in? And that's not the future that the other person sees. Or people make the mistake on giving up their future in order to sacrifice for another person. When it don't work out a certain way, they'll be bitter because they didn't live their future. So they'll blame the other spouse for bringing them down, taking them another way, and that wasn't the case at all. We got to learn to be truthful with ourselves, for number one. Really truthful on your destiny. What do you want to create, or what your dream is? Because when you got that together, and don't expect a person, a spouse, because here we go again. I hear people say all the time, my spouse supports my idea. Well, they might say it verbally, especially when they first try to get with you. But that don't mean they're happy, and they don't mean that that's what they want it to be. So again, we got to be crystal clear. Going back to this particular person, when I figured it out that we had two different destinies, she had a destiny where she owned a lot of land in Virginia, and she wanted to go back and retire there and have a holistic farm. That sounds good. And me, I saw what I was going to be doing right now, traveling around the world teaching a Breatharian message. I wasn't going to sit at home and be no farmer. And she wasn't going to travel around teaching no Breatharian message. Those are our futures, but at the time we got along just right. Now, so I think what we had to do, we had to sit down and be crystal clear. You don't need to try to fit me in your destiny, and I don't need to try to fit you in mine. Some people try really hard to fit that in. Well, only time you still could have got with her, you just have to leave the farm every once in a while and make your rounds coming back. But I don't want to do that. And vice versa. You know, give and take. Like we said, relationships take a lot of work, but y'all have to be clear as a team to work together. But when you're on this brahmachari path or the celibacy path, this ain't about blaming others no more. And it's not about taking your destiny or your dream down for somebody else or expect them to do the same. This is why it brings so much clarity. So her and I, being adults and we was able to talk, really talk, we understood that our destinies were different. So was able to break off easy. Nobody was selfish about it. We're going to miss each other, but it's time to break off. And when we broke off, this happened decades ago, over a decade ago. We never kept touch since. Sometimes it's not about you leaving a relationship that it was bad and you don't talk to them no more. Sometimes it's just to leave and keep that memory there because it was such a good memory and break away so you could be free and clear. So you won't be, did I make a right decision in and out? Just leave a person alone so you can go carry out your spiritual journey so you can grow and you can allow them to grow. Now, what I do know, the last report I heard, guess what? They fulfilled their destiny. They are now on a farm in Virginia doing their things because I was able to get out of their life instead of holding them back to go ahead and do that. We didn't have to compromise. And vice versa, I'm doing what I'm doing, teaching a Breatharian message around the world, and I don't have to compromise because I take her along and this and that. Didn't have to do that. So when you deal with the celibacy path, this brahmachari, these burning ring of fires, the first thing you have to do is be honest with yourself. Celibacy helps you with your destiny, to clear the air, so you don't have to use others or be used by others, because you're already crystal clear on where you want to go. And the reason why I use that word, because people do use the energy of sex seduction, to get people to do what they want them to do and stuff like this. And then after a while, you find out that was either a bad idea, that's where that burning ring of fire come, or I should have broke off and just went the other way. So here we go again with sex talk. So if you are in a situation where it really didn't get consummated and you're clear that that person is not going where you got to go, don't go down the burning ring of fire. Just be clear. And when you deal with the celibacy brahmachari path, there's 4 different levels of it. But where you plant your sexual energy is going to dictate how your life is going to go. Keep that in mind. These emotions get set in place. You're trading off DNA, which is a vibration. And for women, we're going to talk about this one day. It is different sexually for a woman because you actually got somebody going inside you. So when you take on that man's DNA inside you, it goes into the blood-brain barrier of your body. So it does affect your total energy for years to come. And then when there's more than one and all of that, it accumulates. That's a whole nother ball game. But we got to be clear again on celibacy. Do give you more clarity of mind when you're out of the sex game to see your direction and pinpoint where you need to go so you can start using your magic. And the sexual energy is one of the toughest paths around. It's called the 7th island for a reason. That means that the first island of diet is easy. It's right there. The second island is easy. It's right there. You know, you can swim in that one. But the seventh island is way out there. You need binoculars. You might need to get up on a building. There's sharks around it. I mean, it's way out there. Everybody's not going to make it there. That's not for everybody. But for those who want to go to a higher, deeper understanding of your spiritual growth is there. There's a lot of power there again. But we're just saying getting there through these obstacles does take a lot. Does take a lot because people are beautiful. They're attractive. Just because you meet somebody attractive, you're traveling around or you be around or just everyday life, you're going to see other people you will be attracted to. So again, hold firm on how you use your sexual energy, number one. Don't let it blow itself out all over the place. We're going to talk more about that. And for number two, keep in mind, if you're still single and stuff like that, what your destiny and what you want to create so you won't be in these situations where bitterness will arise. And today we're going to talk about brahmacharya. That's in two words. Brahma means the ultimate and charya means the path. This is the ultimate path in spirituality when one masters or understands using their sexual energy for their energetic spiritual growth. Because the light has the value that you give it. It's not for everybody, but for those who choose to take this path, we're going to do our best to educate, to make a doorway so one can benefit on this endeavor. So when you deal with brahmacharya, the idea is a little different than celibacy. Because here in the West, celibacy just means all or nothing or abstinence from, and that's not what it's saying at all when you're dealing with sexual cultivation. Because what people wonder, well, if this part of spirituality, we were meant to procreate, and if humanity didn't procreate, then we wouldn't be around. So that's why this is far-fetched from what people are saying what sexual energy is into your life spiritually. And the ultimate level is renunciation when you get there or when it's needed. Now, brahmacharya comes in 4 different levels. Listen at this, and everybody is at some type of level or some type of degree, but you got to go through all of them. Or you don't have to go to the renunciation part, but it will better you. Now, what happens is the first level is education, sex education, because this is what this is. We're giving out sex education right now. The first level is education. Instead of a young man or a young woman thinking about sex and all of this stuff, they should educate themselves in life so they can better find out what they're good at. This is how you're directing your sexual energy, to be creative, to see what you're going to go into in life, because there's so many people who get pregnant or get somebody pregnant before they even found out that they could create a livelihood, take care of the young, and stuff like this, or what they just created. So you should go through an education in life, basically a sowing your oats. Now, sowing your oats don't mean you having sex with everybody, trying everybody out. It means that, so you could do a lot of things when you don't have young children. Some of you who out there, you know that. When you have children, that does lock you in because that's a new responsibility of your life. So your first years, you should get educated, test the waters of life, of the different experiences before you even think about having that sexual union with your body. That's the first level, education. And that usually goes from 0 all the way up to 21 to 25 if we was to give an age on it. Educate yourself so you can really get a foundation, not only for yourself, but also for the future offspring you're about to bring in, and then also educate you about other people. Look how many people picked the wrong spouse. You thought it was love and it had nothing to do with that, or it could have at the time, but you weren't educated enough about life in order to maintain a relationship. So again, this education goes wide on your different life experiences, so when you're ready to go into the second phase of brahmacharya, because it's all about sexual energy, now it's called the householder years. When you do decide, or if you decide to have a baby, get with a spouse and stuff, you're educated enough for, number one, to at least get the right person where y'all got an agreement, y'all are going to do this together. There's so many people get into a relationship where they're blaming each other that one person is taking parenting more seriously than the other and all this other stuff. That should have been worked out before it even came to fruition. For instance, there was a young man one time who didn't get married yet. He had his fiance, but they were looking for houses. And he came back and I said, did you find a house? He said, yeah, this would be perfect. It's in a good neighborhood. The school is not far away for when we have our child. And we got an extra bedroom, for when the child get grown. A lot of people don't think like that. That is real key. That is called family planning. You don't wait till after you got your family going and then all of a sudden you need family planning counseling. Family planning counseling should come way before you even think about the relationships. I know this sounds old school, but it's not. This hurts you in life when you don't plant your sexual energy correctly. This goes for all of us. Now, the second level is you're in your householder years. Now listen at that. See, sex can build a house, or sex can, used the wrong way, can tear it down. So you're crystal clear, like we was talking about holding the orgasm, holding your seed. But when you're giving it to one person, y'all making this energy exchange, that's a whole different ball game because y'all connecting on so many levels. Not only you're connecting on the physical level, y'all are working as a team now in life. So y'all working on an emotional and also a mental level. So it's not like y'all draining each other's energy. You should be giving back each other's energy. You are also, your main goal of a relationship is for your spiritual cultivation, your energy cultivation. You shouldn't have to come home with somebody giving you a headache. That should be your home, your householder years. And as you're having your children, that's how you use your sexual energy. That shows it right there. Both of y'all should be dedicated on that agenda because that is your offspring. So again, you're directing all your time and energy into how you producing your sexual energy. It was more than just a sexual act now. It is manifested. So that's the second level of brahmachari. First level, education. You're getting educated. You're getting something up here instead of just using your body. Second level, the householder years. If you plan on getting into a relationship, you know how to get into a better quality one. I mean, so many people right now in their late 50s and 60s who want another relationship again. Why is that? They already got kids, grandkids, because the other ones, they know they didn't have enough knowledge. It really didn't go the way they thought it should go. But now they feel they got enough knowledge accumulated that they want to start a new relationship or a new family. I mean, many older men who want to start a new family all of a sudden because they messed up the first or second ones, or they really wasn't in there like they should now. No shooting a finger, but that's what happens. With this idea or this thought process. But when you learn brahmachari, it breaks down a lot of that because now you learn to get educated first through life experiences, true education. Then you learn to plant your seed right into your householder years. You understand? And then third, we're going into the forester years or the forestry years. Now, why is it called forestry? Forestry is like a word like a wilderness, or you're going on your pilgrimage. So your whole goal in life, see, I'm not talking to everybody. I'm talking to people who's on a spiritual path and want to take it higher. This is for number one. Now, there's a saying that says no matter who you having sex with, constantly, over and over again, the physical is going to wear itself out soon. Let's make that clear. And you'd be surprised how much marriage counseling is going on all over the world for people trying to get along and try to get that mental thing going because the physical wore itself out. Now it's all mental. So the forestry years, once you got with that person or the celibacy nature, y'all made that commitment to one another, or at least plant y'all seeds with each other. Then you go into the forestry years because children do take a lot to raise. All they have is wants. You understand? Want this, want that. So basically, they usually say, when you are raising children, you ain't even in the spiritual game because you're being pulled too much into the physical. That's understandable. I know this is going to be a little shaky on a lot of people. I know a lot of people got children and they spiritual and they get this spouse and I understand that, but we're talking about people who's at the higher levels and degrees. You can't compare a person who's in that situation to one who is freed up, full dedication, full sexual energy going directly into the goal. This is what we're talking about. So your forestry years come about. The children got older. One day they're going to get old enough to leave the house and whatever, start their own life. They ain't going to be there forever. So that's why I tell people on the Breatharian journey, they want to become this Breatharian, not eating, drinking, and they got these little children they try to raise in the household. Your spouse ain't down for it. You're causing problems. That's what you're doing. Wait, focus and be healthy. The children will get older where you'll have a lot more time to cultivate yourself. And the Brahmacharya is so deep. See, by you making those first commitments from the education years, then the householder years, that take a lot of static off of you really putting energy into your family, raising your kids, you understand? So you shouldn't really have that much headache with them because you did invest a lot of energy into it. We're just talking real again because it trickles on. And you're also showing them the Brahmachari method. Encouraging them to get education before dating, getting a boyfriend, girlfriend. It's all right to have that, but stay out of that sexual arena. Give them true education. Because once they open up that door, it's going to lead your life a whole different direction. There's so many people are suffering about it, about unplanned pregnancies, all this other stuff, diseases, all this stuff come about. Heartbreak, emotions, going a certain direction where you could have been doing so much else with your life, using your sexual energy for something else, but you never really did your dream. All of that got blowed just for a few seconds of folly. So anyway, you're in the forestry years where even you and your spouse physically, y'all still love each other, but that physical thing, like we said, it ain't highlighted like it was when y'all were younger. The children is grown, so now both of y'all can help each other cultivate that mental, spiritual understanding. That's your forestry years. You understand? You're married and everything. And I don't say y'all got to stop having sex with each other, but it's more at a what? Higher level and degree where y'all understand each other's fluids, each other's biology and stuff like this. Then last on the Brahmachari journey, Brahma meaning the ultimate, Charya meaning the path. The ultimate level is renunciation. Just say if a spouse do die or whatever, why would you want to get married again? See, you wouldn't want to get married again or do it again if you gave good quality in the first one. Usually when people want to start a new family or start a new marriage or stuff like this, because there's things they still want to pick up with that desire, or they're afraid to be alone. But if you cultivate this sexual energy right on a Brahmachari path, you'll love those time periods, or you understand that they're necessary to be alone because you are a person that's on a spiritual path. So there's balance to take place, being with people, you understand, being with a connected relationship, but there's also, you need to be alone at times to cultivate your own energy, to cultivate your own voice. There's even higher level knowledge where the couples sleep in 2 different beds, because if y'all sleeping together all the time, y'all get used to each other's energy. So if one person's energy go down, you won't have enough strength to really heal your spouse. Y'all should be able to heal one another, because I don't care how much y'all get along, there's nobody have the same energy that you have. Okay, so we can nip that in the bud. So it's your responsibility to cultivate your own spiritual energy and allow them to cultivate theirs. And when y'all do get together, y'all can better heal each other because y'all didn't compromise each other's energy. That's why there's some cultures where the woman is having her time in a month, she don't sleep with the man or don't even hug him because she's actually hemorrhaging. She's losing energy. I know what most women say, I feel like I got more energy. We ain't talking about that. You're losing energy. You're irritable. And you can actually drain energy from other people around you, being in that form of thought process and stuff like that. So now when you're going into the renunciation years, we're not even saying somebody died. Y'all still could be married, but y'all just supposedly agreed to keep cultivating your energy so it could come from the lower chakra and stay up. Feeding the brain, stay up, nourishing the brain. So when our sexual energy goes up like that, it's getting all these nutrients, all these proteins. We talked about this earlier. All these carbohydrates that's needed. And this fructose is going to the brain. It's lubricating the brain. And the brain ain't got to look elsewhere for you to have that hunger feeling or be a slave to the lower energies to try to recompensate that. So you're somewhere else. And remember what I said in my teachings too? The older you are, actually the higher your energy. Because this bone that's up under here, which is the physical structure of us, the longer it's in this realm, just like artifacts. I'm out here in Arizona right now. There's artifacts all out here. The older ones have more radiation coming from them. They're more radiated. So therefore, the longer you be in this realm, the more radiated you become. My energy is higher than a man or a woman that's 20 years old. No ifs, buts, ands about it. Especially I'm on a cultivation with the knowledge I have now. I mean, this is where it's at. And then, this is where the power at. I'm in brahmacharya. In other words, the seed is going back into the blood, circulating over the body. You understand, you get stronger and stronger as the years go past. We understand there's challenges. I talked about that on the other videos. But when you do stay in the game and keep getting stronger in your renunciation years, this is what the writings of ancient times come for real. You're no longer a man. You are a mind. Everything is mind. Everything is mental. You're a consciousness. You don't feel nothing, no aches and pains in your body no more. Everything is circulating fluidly. And then dealing with electromagnetism, if the energy is high, the magnetism is high, and vice versa. For a female, if the magnetism is high, the electricity is high. So you are living a life creating straight from mind. You are a mental consciousness. That's why they show us the symbolism of a Christmas tree. A full-blown Christmas tree opened up with all the lights on. That's the fully opening of a consciousness. This is heavy, ain't it? So I hope you got a lot out of this. It's the 4 levels of brahmacharya. Education. Go get educated. Number 2, householder years. Yeah, be a good householder. If you're going to have a marriage, make it could be the best marriage you ever can want to make it. You understand? In most marriages, they get a divorce because of finances and sex. It's time to knock that in the bud. You wouldn't have to cry about finances if both of y'all had high energy, you knew how to manifest stuff, and then you wouldn't be crying about sex if you both understood the value of that energy and know how to cultivate it and help each other to eat healthy, eat less, and keep y'all energy high so y'all can enjoy this beautiful world a lot better. Then the forestry years, you be looking for that moment when the kids got grown, you got other hobbies, other things you really wanted to get off your chest. You're healthy because you haven't been spinning and draining your sexual energy all over the place. So then you could take those years. Not only you got the physical energy, now you got the mind. Have you ever heard people, if only if I knew what I knew now? Now you can say that boldly and still be functioning in a young acting body. This is awesome. And then when you go to your renunciation years, that's a whole nother ball game. See, there's levels and degrees after that. But when you renounce that and you got your fullness of your energy that's in you, you're not wasting it nowhere. It's going back inside, nourishing the organs, nourishing the brain, putting out an energy, a high vibration. This is the immortality levels. Yes, we went there. Longevity / immortality. It cleans up your skin. It cleans up your eyes. You feel real good inside, flexible, just from you understanding sexual energy cultivation. Your meditations will go so high, it will go to other levels, other degrees. And I hope you got a lot out of this again. This is el-amin, and I love you. Brahmacharya, the ultimate path.